Hi, I'm Nancy Angel.
My name is Scott Gerard Timothy Edward Francis Howard Lubert the First.
Leslie Lee Lomontaine Ham. That's my name.
Doug is my husband, and we've been married 35 years, and I have 2 kids that were raised here, of course. It was 33 years ago that we came to ABF. My parents were attending here, and so we thought we'd try it, and that was history. We've been here ever since. I am considered the last man standing on the staff because I've been here 20 years. And the joke is that I hope I will retire before I am in a wheelchair going around the offices at church.
My wife and I have been here about a year and a half. My wife's name is Joan. My daughter's names Bridget, Bethany, Christina, Abigail, and Lindsay. I first moved out to Northern California for a job I was a Christian school principal for 20 years. Then was burned out on that, so I decided to move where I wanted to move instead of just because of where a job leads me, and picked LA, even though I'd never been there, and ended up in Westlake Village and absolutely love it. We've been here a decade now.
Johnny and I started attending ABF with our family in 1988 in July. Johnny is my husband. We've been married 45 years in January. Before Johnny and I were married, he was in Vietnam. He did 2 stints over there, and we went on our first date on August 23rd, and he picked me up from work in his Navy uniform, so hunky. And 5 months and 1 day later, we were married. It was January of 1970, and I was 18 and he was 24. We were married 10 and a half months, and our daughter Tina Michelle came into the world. And 2 years and 9 months later, we had another little girl, and in April along came Amanda. And we felt like our family was complete. We had a beautiful home, we had 3 adorable children, and Johnny had a great job, and we had Christ, we had friends, and we were on our way to the American dream. We did the things that you would think would put your life in order and that would make it so that your future is set up. And then he was diagnosed with Parkinson's. It was hard. That was really, really hard because he wanted to be the strong leader. He wanted to be, but things were changing, and that's hard. Then recently, I got a call from our medical group saying that I was behind getting my mammogram. So I said, okay, I would come in, and I did. And a few weeks later, I get a phone call, and they see something. So I went in, and they scheduled a needle biopsy, and it doesn't look good. Well, first they said, the good news is it's not cancer. The bad news is it's precancerous and you need to have it taken out and you need to see a surgeon. I go and see a surgeon, and the surgeon said, oops, it is cancer. We're about 3 or 4 weeks into this, and I find out my sister also is diagnosed.
The first 20 years we were married, I had normal job situation and worked very faithfully. Money was always tight because I was in ministry. But I always thought, gosh, I don't know how I could even take a day off, much less a week, because I could never afford it. But I was without work for about 6 months once when we were living in Chicago. And I was just in a panic, thinking how in the world are we going to survive? I just didn't know. I couldn't hardly sleep at night. I was just petrified. Then it happened again, and this time I was out of work for about a year. Then, this third time, I've been out of work now for about 6 years.
Well, Dave Gudgel had taken the church as far as he could, as far as his vision for ABF, and he really felt God was leading him to another church in Arizona. And we anticipated that there was going to be, obviously transition, and it's hard to lose a pastor of 25 years. But we didn't realize how we were entering into literally another decade of a season of change and of unrest, as I would call it. Several pastors, 2 senior pastors and 2 associate pastors that people really bonded with, that they came and they went, and that was really hard on the church body. We had many interim pastors, and one of the guys, Roland Neednagel, actually got brain cancer while he was here and then went home to be with the Lord. And so it was a lot of conflicted emotions during that decade of years, where people, had some sadness and disillusionment and fear, like, what does God have in store for us?
I think men value themselves a lot on how much money they make, what they're worth. And it was very difficult to try to figure out who I was separate from work. And whether my family would have any respect for me or people in general, because we tend to judge each other by their careers, especially men. First question they ask each other is, what do you do? And especially if my wife is working, and so we've had to live a lot off of her income, which was very uncomfortable for me. Just not the way I thought life should work. I want to be the provider, I want to be the leader and take care of everything, and that make it where everybody else doesn't have to worry about that kind of stuff. And instead, here I am being the person that I felt weak and helpless.
So waiting and trusting is so hard. It's so hard, and it really just was not what my future was supposed to be. It was, this was supposed to be the golden years. We were supposed to be playing and having fun, and it was scary, just totally scary.